Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and I'm here with some exclusive content from the ESET UK Masters. We are looking at, I'm casting, you're viewing all of the finalists this week on my channel to give you an idea of who you might want to be rooting for come the 22nd of March and who you think could be taking some of those top spots, who is going to struggle. And this is your opportunity to find out about one of those two players, and that is indeed the top right Terran. Spawning in the colour red, we do have Western Wolves' very own Sting. This game, he is up against the pink Terran player in the lower left position from Team Complexity. It is TriMaster. So, TriMaster v Sting, a TvT. And let's tell you a little bit about how Sting managed to get his finalist place, how he got that very important seed. He did it in the second open qualifier, the final online qualifier for the grand finals, and he took out some amazing players such as Snoot, such as Axiom's Heart, but just worked his way through and did really good all in all and secured that finalist spot. So he will be attending and I will get to meet him, which is awesome because seems to be a pretty awesome chap, and all in all he will be trying to win some of that £10,000 prize pool. So we will get a bit more to know his playstyle, especially against Terran at the moment. I'm doing a couple of games from each of the finalists, so make sure you sub to the channel just so you can get a good look. Let us know in the comments section on the TL threads, etc. who you think might be able to take it, who you think might be in trouble. Of course, if you think Sting could be the eventual winner, it's a good shot of doing it, do tell us that. Also check out all the social medias at ESET UK Masters, and also if you want to check out mine, it's at Madals SC2. So currently in terms of openings, we have got a gas and a Rax and a gas and a Rax, which is very normal in TvT. Reapers are pretty good at the moment. They're quick to get out without needing the tech lab. They're very quick, so they give you some good scouting information, and they can harass and pull away if things aren't looking too good by getting down, by just staying out of combat and using those combat drugs. So that's why they're very useful. Both players getting the Reaper out at pretty much identical times. Their builds are exact mirrors. It is a mirror matchup to the max at the moment, and that just means that we should be seeing who wins out of skill alone, at least until there is a variation. So the barracks slightly closer actually for TriMaster here, which just means he will get his Reaper slightly quicker over to his opponent's base by literally minuscule amounts, especially since the Reaper for Sting was trying to take out SCV before it did come back, whereas the one for TriMaster went out and will now come back and try and deal with that SCV as well. So Sting, he's getting up his factory, he's still on one gas as well here for TriMaster. He's not getting up a command center or a factory yet, instead getting a second Reaper out, which will give him some earlier game map dominance. But once Hellions start hitting, which I think they will from Sting because he likes them, then really these Reapers get shut down very hard. The first shot did go off for Sting there, which means TriMaster forced to retreat. Combat drugs will start taking effect shortly, but with the second Reaper coming out, suddenly we see Sting lose all of his map control for the time being, and that is good news for TriMaster. But Sting, he's getting up his command center, TriMaster getting up his command center. The only difference is Sting getting it in his main base just to make sure that it's safe from any aggression or anything like that. Doesn't really want the SCV taken down while it is constructing it, but the Reapers, they can come up in any time they want. They won't have too much hassle, and there's only a single Marine out at the moment, so TriMaster could potentially just go straight up for that and try and deal some damage. There is of course Hellions on their way out though, but this single factory was just completing the Hellion before it switched over to make sure that he can deal with any of this Reaper aggression. And a bit of a misclick there I think by TriMaster, jumping the Reaper back on up in, and that meant that it did die to the Hellion, but the other Reaper running around trying to get a couple of shots off. Did get a kill, I believe, there. 2 actually in total. So that just means that one of them was in the main base. I believe that was the one that killed the SCV originally, and also one SCV here, because while Reapers do get out sooner and they are a lot quicker and they heal up out of combat, they don't hit so hard anymore, which is a bit of a shame for them. They've got heavily nerfed in how much attack damage they do, and they no longer have that cool little grenade thing for buildings. But alas, let's see what these two are doing. TriMaster, he is getting out additional barracks and also a couple of Widow Mine. Compare that to Sting, who's going for a starport very early on. So that starport should be helpful. Going to be allowing him to get out a Raven for detection potentially. He could also look to get some Vikings out fairly soon, but considering that tech lab's there, it's either going to be a Raven or a Banshee just for a little bit of aggression. The Raven is good in Heart of the Swarm because a lot of Terran players, as we're seeing TriMaster do, will get out Widow Mines, and you need that detection to stop top units just dying carelessly to them, and that is something that obviously makes them very cost effective if you don't have detection out. Now, for the moment, TriMaster, he's getting up his stim pack research, he is going for it to the max, so that just means that it's a more bio-force, Marine Marauder, Mine, Medevac, which is very good actually, a lot of Terran players having success with that. Sting, he's just clearing out everything with these Hellions, he's got a lot out at the moment. I'm not sure if this is the patch with the requirement for the servo, the transformation servos, which allow Hellions to become Hellbats without obviously needing just the armory. It may be the one before that, I actually think it is, so I believe you only need the armory here, and if I check, yeah, it does. So that just means that basically it's potentially a very good move to morph these all into Hellbats later. Sees the Widow Mine, will it be able to kill it? Should be able to, and the Widow Mine does get taken down. The bunkers there with a Marauder in it, so the Hellions do have to be a little bit cautious, but with Stim coming out, TriMaster's not going to be wanting to push until, at the very least, Stim is done. Up here for Sting, he's got his third command center, already a third completed. Whereas for TriMaster, he's only just starting his now, so going to get slightly behind economically. Worker count wise, Sting 1 SCV ahead, so not a big mark at the moment. He also went for that Banshee first, and is getting a Raven to follow that up, so going to try and go a little bit of harassment. There are Widow Mines placed around everywhere though, and you will notice the Banshee have 140 health, and a Widow Mine does only 125 damage a hit, so will not one-shot down a Banshee, but will deal significant damage to it. There isn't really much in terms of defense around here, just a couple of Marines sitting everywhere, so the Banshee should be able to get a kill, or maybe two if it's lucky, on SCVs. Using a good little bit of micro here, gets 2 kills there straight away, a third one going to go down, and now the Marines getting back means that the Banshee will have to retreat pretty heavily. Can kite the Marines a little bit, but it's very micro intensive, and if you slip up even for a second, you take a lot of damage, so that Banshee does have to be very careful, gets away with just 14 health. Meanwhile, the Raven is out behind this, that's good news. The third command center is up, but is not morphing into an orbital command yet. As I say that, it just starts. Meanwhile, the reactor coming over, we see that we've got some tank production, double tank production actually coming out. So a mech style build out of Sting, which is easily predicted when you see just so many Hellions there. The Banshee coming back should get repaired up. Meanwhile, for TriMaster, he's got the Marines, the Marauders, the Medevacs, that's all coming together nicely. He's just producing more. He's got Stim done, he's getting Combat Shield out, hasn't started Concussive Shell or anything like that, and is getting, well, he's got a Tech Lab on there, but he hasn't actually started a tank yet, so we'll wait to see what he's planning. Perhaps a double drop coming into the natural base, but a very nicely defended position here for the Western Wolves player just means that actually he shouldn't be too worried. Infernal Pre-Igniter, Blue Flame on its way out as well. That's just going to make these Hellions hit even harder. They can't morph into Hellbat yet because there isn't an armory down. So that's probably something we'll see Sting add in shortly. Just means that they are a lot better up in head-on engagements as opposed to being more mobile and trying to pick off and harass. But it all comes down to whether or not TriMaster is going to be able to do some good damage here. So, third base getting taken by TriMaster slightly sooner. Even though the third command center was quicker for Sting, he hasn't floated it down yet. Clearly not feeling safe. And there's that armory. The upgrades will no doubt be starting shortly. The engineering bay coming down as well now. And all TriMaster's doing is just trying to take a bit of map control, trying to really push out. Sting is holding one of the watchtowers, TriMaster the other, so that's fine. The +1 infantry weapons half done. No +1 infantry armor started yet though, even though there's this double engineering base. So that probably is not intentional, or at least it doesn't seem to be, just otherwise why would you get the double engineering bay and not research from it? Now, as we can see, the double armories are on the way out though for Sting, so he's going to be going for the double mech upgrades. He can start morphing in those Hellions very shortly. He's pushing forward with those Marines, with those Medevacs, with those Marauders as well. So this third base could potentially be in some issues, but with the tanks in a nice position, especially these two up on the high ground, it's going to be very difficult for TriMaster to push in, especially if he loses the Medevacs, because he'll no longer have high ground vision in order to take those out. But as we can see, Sting slightly ahead in terms of supply, not by a huge amount, but by enough to make it actually be like, ooh, perhaps this could go his way. He's also got a 10 supply lead in terms of the workers. 10 more workers is very significant, and we can see how that is very much benefiting Sting in both the gas and mineral income, meaning that his later game forces will be a lot stronger. He's got the 1 vehicle upgrades coming out. Compare that to the single upgrades at a time coming out at the moment for TriMaster, and actually we see that Sting could potentially start pulling ahead, unless of course +2 infantry weapons start shortly. Additional command centers on the way out for TriMaster. None yet for Sting, but probably will do shortly as he starts to get nearer and nearer to max. His income will start skyrocketing, and he will be able to afford to do that. He's getting more factories at the moment, and also just getting out some Vikings to maintain that air dominance, snipe off any of those medevacs, prevent the infantry getting healed up quite as quickly. TriMaster not really being aggressive, both players being very passive actually since the early game, and as such just chucking down some mines, chucking down this hidden expansion down the bottom right. This could really pay off for TriMaster if Sting doesn't scout it. That is something that should be very, very quickly picked up on ideally. Otherwise we'll run into problems. The Widow mines blocking off this path around the side from the high ground, also stopping anything running in from the top here, but it could get taken down relatively quickly. A scan coming off here by Sting, sees the Marauders, sees a couple of tanks as well, or at least one tank, may think it's more than one. The +2/1 infantry upgrades coming down, +1/1 vehicle weapons nearly finished, and Sting now starting to move forward. He can morph those Hellions into Hellbats whenever he wants, but just engaging straight up into it at the moment. Blue Flame doing a lot of damage to tank siege, not really doing very much because the units were pulled back as soon as the siege was spotted, but suddenly this command center forced back. TriMaster not going to be getting a greedy 4th base, but does get a hidden 4th, or will do very shortly if Sting doesn't spot it, but he's moving up already. There's only the single tank there, and that is not very much in terms of defense at the natural, but clearly Sting suspects it may be more. Moving forward, there's a small group of Marauders here, getting caught off guard. The tanks do siege up at the moment. The Vikings trying to knock out the medevacs and doing a good job of it, and that just is very, very irritating. The Raven using a PDD just to prevent those Marauders hitting the tanks at the moment. The bottom right base is now complete, but has not been spotted. Sting moving more tanks and more Banshee and more everything across the map. Reinforcements are coming in hard and heavy. A good supply advantage for Sting at the moment. TriMaster just getting out macroed at the moment, but desperately trying to take these additional bases as quickly as he can to get his income looking solid. In terms of the working out, Sting are now 87 SCVs to 62 of TriMaster. TriMaster cutting some corners to get out those extra bases, but it's not paying off for him at the moment. The tank's getting a great siege position there for Sting. He's shelling straight into those Marauders. The tank vision is granted by that scan for TriMaster at the moment, but the Banshee's chipping away at all of these siege tanks so quickly for Sting. He's taking them all out. TriMaster is in a huge amount of problems at the moment, and that means the tanks can unsiege for Sting. They can start moving forward. The final tank is getting taken out, and this 3rd base is now looking very vulnerable, and immediately we see TriMaster pull back all of the SCVs. The Vikings giving vision, seeing that the additional tanks there, sees the Thors there. The Banshee moving on up, gonna probably try and take out that tank quite quickly, or may just focus straight away for the Thor. The Hellions even pushing in, trying to take the ground advantage. Meanwhile though, a Marauder force with a single medevac pushing up towards the 3rd base of Sting. There are some tanks there defending. One isn't sieged up. The Hellbats trying to engage as best they can, but now with the 2nd siege, with the Marauders stimming forward, they're dealing good damage, but the 3rd base has landed back in the main of TriMaster, and this push looks like it's going to get cleaned up. TriMaster counter-aggression is going to get shut down by this Banshee eventually, but how much can be done before then? Repairs going down on the Orbiter command to keep it up. Tanks on the low ground here for Sting will get cleaned up by the tanks on the high ground. Vision trying to get granted by Sting's Viking, but with everything cleaned up is forced back now. The bottom right base definitely going to start paying off if some SCVs are produced down there. The 4th base also up and running, but does get scanned at the moment, so that means that now Sting is aware that it's been retaken. A Banshee coming over with no defense. That Banshee just has free pickings of all of these SCVs. They'll have to be pulled or they will die. Meanwhile, Vikings just trying to take the air dominance, trying to pick off any medevacs that maybe stray. The Marines trying to chase them down at the moment. TriMaster also getting up a good number of tanks yet again, but the supply lead is still there for Sting at the moment. He's kiting those Marines as best he can. No vision of the high ground means the Marines are going to get taken out very quickly, but that Banshee only with 21 health. A push coming in towards the 4th base though, and that means they won't be able to go down. Sting pulling it back straight away, but taking a 5th base as well down at the left position. The bottom right has not yet been spotted, I don't think, unless those Vikings flew over it, and indeed they did, so that means Sting is now aware of that hidden expansion. That is going to be a potential target area for him. The Banshee chipping away, but a Viking flock comes in and starts dealing a lot of damage there. It's not really a Viking flock, it's not like mutas, it's more of a Viking group? No, that's the wrong word. A Viking division? No, I can't think of it. I'll think of it and it'll come to me and I'll just scream it out and it'll be very confused later on in the cast. But, well, for the moment, Sting, he's got these additional mining bases. He's at 97 SCVs. He's about to go into triple figures. That would be crazy. I haven't seen a Terran in triple figure workers for a long time, but that is a lot more than that of TriMaster. That Banshee has done good damage, killed 12 workers throughout this game. The Marines and Marauders trying to move up, but a good siege line there. It will be way too much for TriMaster to try and push up into. The damage from those tanks is huge. Upgrade-wise, it's 2-2 against 2-1. That upgrade advantage is going to help the Hellbats moving forward as well. They deal quite well in the head-up engagement. Of course, they are light, so that means Marauders don't deal bonus damage to them, but they do hit pretty hard. The Viking on Viking action is going to favor at the moment TriMaster, just due to having more Vikings, even though a PDD went down trying to negate some of those rockets. But now the Raven getting taken out as well. The 4th base forced to lift here by Sting, but he's got a 5th. The bottom right base for TriMaster has not yet been taken out. Sting, though, he's in a good spot. He's clearing out most of this army, and suddenly TriMaster is now lacking in the army supply, and that's really where Sting is winning. And he's also winning in terms of just how much income he has, but he needs to take the 5th base fairly soon. He's pushing forward with some Hellbats, with some tanks, but those 3 tanks on the high ground are just able to clean out near everything, and that in itself is incredibly annoying. A scan goes off, sees where the tanks are, how many there are, and now Sting coming along with some more units, going to go and try and clear those out. The 3rd base has been retaken. This top left base is down, up and running. This tower, really important to Sting's force, because that just allows him to know if any push tries to come in, sees things like that Viking moving across. These 3 tanks are now going to die. So many tanks there, instantly blows them up. That means that suddenly Sting is able to secure his 5th as well, leveling out the bases, and with the additional work, he can now give Sting such a good economy over his opponent. He's really nearly, well now, just under 30 workers ahead of his opponent, so that is a significant amount. And now going to take out this bottom right planetary fortress. Oh, so many tanks up here. The Raven just granting the vision, and while there is a couple of SCVs coming down there, we do see the repair is keeping it alive for the moment, but Marines Marauders trying to come in. A tank does try to siege up, but not quite in time. Both get picked off, and while there is a single Hellbat there, it is not going to be enough to deal with this force. But Sting, he's pushing in towards the 3rd base as well. He's still got 2 tanks there trying to take out this planetary fortress. Vision is still granted, so that's fine. The push into 3rd dealing a nice bit of damage. The 4th base of Sting forced to lift because of these Marines and Marauders. No defense up at the 3rd either, though. The 3rd base of TriMaster exposed, very, very much so. Sting's Banshee chipping away at those tanks. A couple of Marines on their way over, but the tank line slowly rolling forward. The planetary fortress is just constantly being repaired. The 4th base, or should I say 5th base of Sting, is forced to lift and pull back. More units coming down to try and take out this planetary fortress, but there won't be enough for TriMaster. Sting now, with over a 50 supply lead, is in a great spot. He gets a good siege up right outside his opponent's natural. That'll stop reinforcements getting over to try and save this base. And well, everything is looking very close at the moment. The planetary fortress is got to do more to defend these SCVs, but starting to deal the damage there. A lot of overstimming, no medevac to heal it up. And well, as we see, a barracks going down, a tech lab and another barracks going down as well. The factory is just within shelling range, but no vision being granted at the moment because there's no air units there. Finally, the drop, or rather the small attack group, has got cleaned out. The 5th base should get relanded at some point. I'm not quite sure when. Apparently, we've just got another orbital one coming down there. And Sting instead sending this one up to the top left, where there is 1 lone Marine for TriMaster ready to try and take it all out. So we'll wait to see what happens there. The tanks finally getting knocked down at the natural base. This game is very close, but TriMaster has lost quite a lot more than his opponent. 3,000 resources more, and that just means that with the supply deficit and with the fact that he's at 47 SCVs to Sting 66, Sting is definitely in a nice spot. Pushing forward now with those Hellbats, with those tanks, a Thor there as well to help deal with the Vikings. It looks like he'll be able to push through. This top left base will be forced to lift yet again. The bottom right base has finally been destroyed. The 3rd is still being shelled as well. The tanks may get the kill unless the repair goes off, and it doesn't. That is really unfortunate there for TriMaster, and Sting has now knocked his opponent down to just these 2 bases. The main mined out pretty much. The natural also very, very low, and I think now Sting will be able to take this just with the superior force. And the fact that he has got so much more income. If we look at this income difference, 2,000 compared to 500 minerals a minute. Sting, he is going for it, but TriMaster, one last push forward. He takes out the Thors. The tanks at the back have been taken out as well. So TriMaster will be able to hold for the moment, but will it be enough? He desperately needs to keep this 3rd base up. These additional mining bases for Sting are just absolutely huge at the moment. He's got the +3 vehicle weapons coming up, but 3-2 infantry weapons are already finished for TriMaster, so a slight upgrade advantage there for him. The tank dealing some nice damage. The watchtower is, of course, desperately trying to get held. The Marauders do deal some nice damage, and now the Marines and Marauders pushing in to this small group, but so many Vikings here, so many reinforcements coming from the flank, and that means that these Marauders will now get cleaned out. TriMaster at under 100 supply. He's putting up such a good fight, but the main base looking very vulnerable. Just a handful of tanks here trying to hold, and up TriMaster comes, trying to deal some more damage, picking off that medevac with the infantry coming to support those tanks. We see Sting pulling back for the time being. The Hellbat dealing some nice damage. The HotS physics engine getting put to the limit with all the explosions and dying units going off on screen. But all in all, we're just seeing a lot of action, a lot of very closely fought games, and well, TriMaster desperate to stay in at the moment. And as we can see, Sting was responding by spending some of his massive bank of minerals on more command centers, because you can never have too many command centers if you do have excess minerals. And obviously, the more command centers you get out, eventually they become orbital commands. And when you get a whole ton of orbital commands, you can ignore the fact that you need SCVs and just mule all your minerals and just keep the gas geysers running. This small drop, I'm waiting to see what that's going to do, but we see Sting here is getting shelled from this high ground position. 4 tanks are available, but units coming from the back, that could be slightly problematic. The tank's probably going to siege up in a nice position. The Widow Mine does try to do some damage, picks up a Viking there, so that's quite good, but no siege up, just pushing straight in here, trying to deal as much damage as possible. And we see the tanks will now get cleaned out, and that's a big loss for TriMaster. A lot of his army is going down, but he's attacking the top left base with this small force of Marines and Marauders, dealing the damage everywhere that he wants. Going to take out this orbital command relatively quickly, and as that orbital command goes down, that means that suddenly things are starting to level out yet again. This game is getting absolutely epic, but TriMaster is now 80 supply behind his opponent. That is massive. Tanks coming up, the siege right outside the third base, and if this third orbital dies, the income for TriMaster will be next to nothing. He's trying to retake that base above the natural, but as we can see, the tanks all sieged up, dealing so much damage. SCV's getting pulled, which is never ever a good sign. The Hellbat does die, and it looks like these 3 tanks are doing a nice job, but they will eventually fall now. And well, even though they're falling, just so much damage has been done. TriMaster has lost a lot of workers. Equally though, so has Sting, and forced a GG because this orbital command was getting shelled, and that would have been the last mining option. TriMaster completely broke. So that was an incredible TvT, and just a taste of what these finalists could be having in store for us at the grand finals on the 22nd to 25th of March. So if you did enjoy, make sure that you like the video, leave a cool comment, let us know how you think Sting's going to do come the finals. Of course, check out all the TL threads, all the Twitter accounts and web pages and things like that. So ESETUKMasters.com and at ESETUKMasters. If you want to check me out, it's at Madals SC2, and of course you're on my YouTube channel already, so you know where that is. There's more action from more of the finalists coming up over the coming days, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.